Welcome to our talk today. I'm Dr. Allison Johnson. I'm here with Jean Collins, and we're going to talk today about women's sexual health, and specifically about low libido and potential causes of that, and then how to help raise your libido with essential oils and with massage of certain points. And I'm all about living longer, living happier, living more vital. And you can follow me on Immortal Beauty on Facebook and on YouTube. And here's Jean.
Hey everyone, thank you guys so much for tuning in, for liking this video, for watching with us. And yes, me and Allison are very similar. We're all about creating that vitality, having that energy long lasting through our years, and just making sure that we feel beautiful and that we also look beautiful. So it's an inside out thing. I have a YouTube channel. You can just look for Jean Collins. And then also, I'm on Facebook, there's just Instagram, all sorts of great things. So follow me, all of that info will be below. I look forward to getting to know you and connecting up with you.
Great. So when we look at the idea of low libido, maybe sometimes it's a little bit of a taboo topic, but it's something that probably most everyone has experienced at some point in their life. And we wanted to bring up this issue because it's something that, sexuality is a part of life, and it's an enjoyable part of life. And when we feel that we don't have enough energy for that, that's essentially what the low libido is. Oftentimes with both men and women, there's some kind of emotional blockage that's going on there. And if we think back when we were kids, we were very in touch with our bodies and our sensations. And there was a certain kind of vitality that we would feel in life. And part of that vitality is that sexual energy. And then over time, become enculturated by our smaller subcultures and the culture at large, especially in the US. And there, especially for women, there's very much of an idea of kind of how you should be. Not only how you should be in your multiple roles as a mother, as a wife, all these things, but also like how you should look and how you should be sexually. And there's a lot of strange ideas that we have around that and in this culture. And part of that is, you want to be really thin, right? And a big thing with hormone health actually is that you need to eat a good amount of fat. So if you're checking like, how's my libido, making sure you're eating enough food, and especially that you're eating fat. So there's kind of a low-fat craze that began in the 50s that still is present today, aside from a lot of research to the contrary. Fat is really important for your brain health, which is really important to, keep your brain real good. We have a lot of brain degenerative diseases these days. And also for your libido, because cholesterol is a big part of the creation of different hormones, and especially the sex hormones. Those are the ones we're more familiar with. So estrogen, progesterone, testosterone, those kinds of things. And so we want to make sure we're eating enough fat. And also we want to kind of let go of that image of perfection or how much sex we should be having or how we should look. And part of that is like getting out of our head about it. So it's kind of this belief or this image that this is how we should be. And it's also that should creates this horrible kind of back and forth where in some sense you're never living up to that. And so it's always this thing in the carrot in the future going, well, if you get here, then you're going to be perfect. And then you're going to look perfect. And then you're going to have, you're going to be perfect in bed and you're going to just, be this goddess. When really, if you get into your body and back into your sensations, that's what we're going to talk about today, then you can start to actually feel that sexual energy arising. It's always been there. It's just that it can be suppressed.
Definitely. So it's very interesting because as you were talking, I was realizing it's kind of like doing a business. You don't want to always make sure everything's perfect. You just kind of want to take those steps and, obviously you want it to be good, but if you keep waiting until that perfection, then you're probably never going to get there. It's just very interesting. Like when you were talking, that was like my thing that I was thinking of, as well as like the adage of like, know thyself, or, be comfortable being you. because that's what's really going to attract all these things. And I think you're totally right. I mean, those hormones are, they need those good fats, and those good fats are so easy to get. And it was funny, before we even started recording, I was like, wait, there's still like low fat stuff. Because I had already learned to like how important the fats were, so I haven't looked for it. And just that perception and perspective of where we're looking, it's just very interesting. And how, like, you're shopping with everyone, but if you're not looking for something, you won't see it. So, but I yes, the good fats, eat the fats, eat your eat the butter, eat the yogurts.
Yeah, good fats would be generally agreed upon, that like avocado oil is a really good fat, coconut oil is a really good fat, and actually the saturated fats of butter. And then if you are not vegan or vegetarian, then you can do like rendered lard, which means it's not chemically extracted. And those animal fats are really helpful to our system. Olive oil, as long as you don't heat it, it also is really good. But a lot of these oils, peanut oil, soy oil, canola oil, even sunflower and safflower oil, if you see that they're organic, that's real nice. Or you look at a product like a tortilla chip that it's organic, it's good. But, and that means it's non-GMO also, which is good. But you want to look for expeller pressed, because if these vegetable oils are extracted with hexane, which is a chemical, is really not going to be good for you. And a lot of these unsaturated fats are actually more troublesome because they readily break down and become rancid, even if you can't sense that with your nose. Saturated fats have a much stronger chemical structure, and so that's why they stay solid at room temperature. So when those unsaturated fats, those vegetable oils, start to break down and become rancid to some extent, they create a lot of inflammation and oxidation in the body. And that's part of what causes inflammation and heart disease and all these things. So you have one camp telling you, oh, you eat saturated fat, you're going to get heart disease. No, actually, heart disease has gone way up since our grandparents' time, when they were eating bacon fat and butter and these kinds of things. And a lot of it has to do with fast food, which uses a lot of these oils and basically fries stuff in them over and over and over again too. So it's breaking down the chemical structure of these fats, and they're not useful and they're harmful actually. And then people being convinced that saturated fats are not good for them. So we're kind of coming back around now to noting these things. And you could look into the ketogenic diet. Vegetarian and vegans can also do a ketogenic diet, and that has been shown a lot to help with hormone health, especially for women. So yeah, Jean, we're going to talk about some different oils that we could use.
Yeah, so I guess I'm going to start with one that I was kind of shocked a little bit when researching this, and that was nutmeg. So nutmeg is one of those oils that I didn't really think about it, but it's really good for supporting the nervous system to overcome that lack of libido. And it's also in energy, so energy is another blend, but with it being in that, like, it's really good for your adrenals too. So it's like, you gotta have all of your body functioning properly for those desires. Nutmeg is it's an awesome essential oil. It's a little bit more of a spice, and obviously it is a spice, but even not like on the nose. If it's too strong and you don't want to smell it, then put it on the bottom of your feet. That way you don't have to smell it, but you're still getting it absorbed. The bottom of our feet have these great reflexology points, and they're amazing. And you can even look up the reflexology point of your sex drive, your sex organs, on your hormones. Nutmeg, it's awesome. It's a little bit more earthy or grounding, spicy, earthy. So the reason why I brought up the idea of like the sense of smell, because we know how awesome the sense of smell is for our mood and our hormones. And you also maybe your partner doesn't like patchouli, or that's another one that we're going to talk about, or ylang-ylang. It's just too much for him, but they love nutmeg. Then you can easily put it somewhere on your wrists or whatnot. So yeah, that's a little bit about nutmeg on my end.
Nice. So yeah, it actually has been used a lot of times in men's aftershave soaps and perfumes. So it's interesting that kind of spiciness tends to be used for that. So the book that I have is a great book from some folks who are Ayurvedic doctors, as the ancient medicine from India. And they talk about how it's really good for blood flow, for brain activity, for calming the nerves, grounding, strengthening. So again, we think about, if every time we think about that, start to get in those images and those worries about how we should be and what we should be doing and how we should look, it's like it's this tightening and it's kind of this pulling up out of our body. And so this is going to be nice and spicy and grounding and calming. So it's got a calming effect and also an aphrodisiac effect. So you've maybe heard that term. So all of these oils have an aphrodisiac effect. One thing about nutmeg, there is a vitality oil in Young Living for nutmeg, and you do just want to make sure to do it in small quantities at first. So Ayurveda warns that excessive use can cause like a dulling of the brain a little bit, and so just use it minimally and just move up slowly so that you are getting the effect that you need from it. And the nutmeg essential oil with your Ningxia red, I bet that's delicious.
Yeah, I will have to go and try the just individually the Ningxia red with the nutmeg. Yeah, nutmeg. It's awesome. Good thing to know. And especially if you are starting out with essential oils, you want to start slow anyways. They are really potent. So starting slow and then adding is always good. Yeah, so that's nutmeg in a nutshell. And it has really great properties, especially for our brain. And our brain is what controls everything else, right? So, okay, so next, I kind of already mentioned patchouli. That's patchouli. And it does say on here for patchouli that you can apply 2 to 4 drops directly to the skin, dilution not required except for the most sensitive. And again, a drop of essential oils, just so you know. Patchouli is also a thicker oil, and I just opened this. So when you first just open an oil, you kind of have to get it started. You got to prime it. Patchouli also is one of the oils that's in abundance. So I know I'm kind of mentioning some other blends, but it has, I'm just telling you guys this stuff because there's multiple uses. Yes, today we're focusing more on sex drive and making sure that our sex drive is great. So, and getting out of that lack of libido. Patchouli also helps with relaxing. And I guess what Allison was saying, getting it more into your body. If you're more relaxed, everything is easier. I've definitely experienced it personally because I used to be one of those people that would run around and like be like, oh, I got to do this and I got to do this and I got to do it. It just doesn't work. I mean, it works. Like I'm still here, but I started noticing when I started using more essential oils and everything that I was able to get more things done because I'm calm. So patchouli is in a lot of great things. Patchouli is also even in peace and calming, which a lot of people have been using right now with everything going on with COVID-19 to just kind of help them when they're going shopping, just to have that peace of mind. And patchouli also, like, so that's relaxing, but it has those clarifying thoughts. It can help us discard jealousies, obsessions, and insecurities. And we kind of talked a little bit about those insecurities of, you know, what society has deemed sexy. And if we're not that, then maybe we're not sexy. And that's not true at all. This also reminds me of something I've been doing, again, more for business and mindset. But Ashton Kutcher, when he won, I think it was the Teen Choice Awards, but either way, one of his award acceptance, he was talking about how being sexy is really being smart, generous, and thoughtful. So again, being sexy is being smart, generous, and thoughtful. And like, yes, you want to make sure that you are physically healthy because we're all about living longevity. If you are super overweight, that's not going to help you with longevity and that vitality. But, you know, there's stepping stones. There's things to work on and move forward with. So that's just a little bit of like patchouli and how it can help with helping you discard those jealousies and those insecurities and just helping you be relaxed so you can really enjoy.
In another book that I have on essential oils, patchouli belongs to the second chakra. So that's considered the sexual chakra. So like the area slightly below the navel there. Maybe people don't like it so much because they remember the 60s or they remember fragrance oils. So we're going to talk about Lang Lang and patchouli. They're notorious for having an alternative to real essential oils, which is like a fragrance oil. And those tend to be really cloying and kind of headache causing and gross. So if you've never experienced patchouli and Lang Lang in their true, therapeutic, pure essential oil form, I highly recommend you try them. And you can try them in various dilutions, like Jean was saying. Maybe, you use a couple drops instead of using like 4 drops or something, or you put it on your feet so that you get to absorb it. Or maybe you put it on in the morning and then throughout the day it gets absorbed. And then toward the nighttime, if you're gonna be with your lover, then you can, maybe you don't smell like patchouli so much, that kind of thing. So you get that. And it actually does mix well with Lang Lang. So mixing essential oils is also, Young Living has their own blends, which is, they're wonderful. There's science behind them, they smell amazing, but you can also mix them yourself. And so Lang Lang and patchouli would be like a great mixture. And especially for women to put in that second chakra area. So put in that area of kind of where your uterus is. And there's also a marma point. So marma points are like acupressure points, essentially from Indian medicine, Ayurveda. So if you go down your midline from your belly button and you feel your pubic bone line, you'll run into a bone if you go down far enough. It's about at the little bit below the level of the pubic hair usually. If you then massage that point there, that's considered a point that's really helpful for raising your libido and opening up that sexual energy. So I think I love patchouli topically personally, but you could also diffuse it for sure.
So on to ylang ylang, as she did mention that ylang ylang and patchouli mix well together. So I'm gonna also show you guys again, so like dropping an essential oil, like you gotta drop it. That's a full dose, that's 1 drop. Like, so if you need 2, then you do 2 drops. Usually the average adult, like an essential oil will absorb between 1 to 3 drops. If you go a little over, because maybe it's it has the viscosity is thinner, so it goes quicker, it drops quicker. You'll notice that when you start using essential oils. Then it's all right. You're not, like, nothing bad's gonna happen, but just be aware that 1 to 3 is better for an adult. And again, if you're starting new, start with 1 and then add more as you go on. Usually we just need 1 to 2. So anyways, ylang ylang, balancing the male and female energies. Like, yes, I am a female, Allison is a female, but we all have those male and female energies within us. So that's like huge. The fact that, I don't know why I just thought of this, but I did. Ylang ylang and then yin yang. It's just like that's what it, like, even the name reminds me of that. But the name actually means flowers of flowers. So, but it's just either way, the yin yang, the ylang ylang, they sound similar. That's where my mind goes. But I also wanted to briefly touch on the emotional aspect and that connection with the physical body, and how our emotions play a huge role in how our bodies function. We are emotional beings. It sounds weird. I know that we've all been taught that we're more thinking and choices, but we are very emotional. And when things are coming up that we don't face, they can get stuck in certain organs. And that is why essential oils are awesome too, because of that ability to help pull them out of those organs.
Absolutely. And the idea in Chinese medicine, especially, is with that idea of the emotions being caught in the organs. And so it's not like a physical, emotion's not a physical thing, it's like an energy. And so basically each organ in Chinese medicine, so like the liver belongs to the emotion of anger, the lung belongs to the emotion of grief, the heart belongs to the emotion of like overwhelm, the spleen belongs to the emotion of worry, and the kidney belongs to the emotion of fear. And so, but there are good sides to each of those too. So like the liver and anger, impetus, like moving forward is like the energy there, or clarity. For the heart, that energy, instead of overwhelm, it's like a great sense of joy. For the lung, instead of grief, it's a sense of like kind of integrity and having a, you know, there's a certain kind of integrity to your being, a certain kind of righteous energy, like I know who I am and where I come from. For the spleen, instead of worry, it's trust. It's trust in the natural process of life. And for the kidney, instead of fear, it's like this deep wisdom and knowing beyond knowing. It's not this kind of knowing, it's knowing in the body. And yes, so Lang Lang, it's a great one for negative emotions, for hysteria and depression, for bringing out warmth and self-confidence and sensitivity. So these, you know, this one by itself is amazing. And then if we combined it with the patchouli, that would be such a great combination. And again, it would be great to massage this on the lower belly. There's another point, the last point I'll talk about for massage is on the inside of the elbow, about halfway. So it's kind of near where you get blood taken. If you gently press that and then kind of rub that area, that one's also really good for opening your heart and opening your, just letting go of the emotional tension and getting more in touch with that sexual energy.
That's so awesome, and it's very true. We gotta make sure that we're letting go of things. And thank you for continuing on the emotional and physical connection and explaining that. So the last oil that we're going to talk about is clary sage, and clary sage is super huge for especially women's hormones and making sure that our women hormones are balanced. So it's really great for balancing our women's hormones. Now, if you are pregnant, you want to avoid clary sage until you're ready to give birth. Okay, if you're pregnant, avoid clary sage until you're ready to give birth. Just making sure you guys heard that, because this will help with labor. So we want to wait until we need it. But it can also, and again, it can also help with sexual drive and just regulating and balancing those hormones. We're gonna drop, bam, one drop. Clary sage does come out a little quicker, definitely way quicker than patchouli. Ylang ylang and clary sage probably have the same viscosity in general. The other thing I want to briefly mention is the importance of, well, one, knowing where your product comes from, but also I was thinking of showing you guys, this is the book I have been using, and I know Allison will show you hers. And there's a lot more things to clary sage, but those are just the ones that I'm going to focus on and let Allison take it away with the rest. Just remember those that emotional aspect and the physical aspect, and to be cognizant and to use your oils to help move you forward, as we mentioned, moving forward.
Yes, trusting is such a big one. And with sexuality, a lot of issues have to do with that lack of trust, and that may be due to traumas or misunderstandings or other things like that. So these oils can really just work on that deep emotional / somatic level to really help us release those things. We don't have to go to talk therapy about it. You know, we can also, but the oils will work that way, and it's really cool. Okay, so yeah, I have the 8th edition, and this book you will get if you become part of our Young Living team. So check out the details down below, and please feel free to contact Jean or I. We have our phone numbers after this video. You can also call or text us and ask any questions, or message us if you're on Facebook, etc. So one last thing about clary sage, it's like Jean was saying, it's like really a woman's herb, a woman's essential oil. And it is a uterine stimulant, so that's why Jean was saying don't use it if you are pregnant, because it's going to make the uterus squeeze. And so you want to use it if you're going to go into labor. Sure, you can use it for that. It's really great if you get cramps near your menses, and so it'll help release that cramping up. And in general, just try it out. I always loved this oil, and I recently came back into my life again because I'm having a lot of muscular pain, and it's a really good antispasmodic. It helps relax the muscles. But what I notice is how much it's helped my hormones, like how much it makes me feel a little more even, a little less irritable. And I've probably gone through one menstrual cycle with this now. I feel so much better, like less cramping throughout my cycle, even during ovulation. I don't have the cramping. So that's amazing. And what it has is what's called phytoestrogens. So those are plant-based estrogens. So it's not like estrogen you'll take in a birth control pill that's synthetically produced or hormone replacement therapy. It's going to be a much mellower version of that your body can absorb as needed. So you do also want to have some caution if you've ever had an estrogen-based cancer, or you happen to have that in your family. We say this with Chinese herbs too, that we don't tend to give patients who've had that history these kind of phytoestrogens, just to be extra careful. But yes, clary sage. So we've got clary sage, we've got patchouli, we've got ylang ylang, and we've got nutmeg. Try these out, put them on your essential rewards. They're pretty amazing, and see how your hormones start to feel better. Usually, less irritable. We never really like that, right? If we have that premenstrual tension, it's not pleasant. It's not pleasant for anybody. So we could feel better. Our body could feel more open, more circulation, more of that just vital life energy, that sexual energy. So thanks so much for watching today. If you have any comments or questions, please post them. We'd love to interact with you, and you can find us again on YouTube and Facebook. And thanks so much. Have a wonderful day.
Comment, ask questions, tell us what you're looking for, but your best way to know if these works is to experience them, use them, try them out. But I agree with Allison, like I don't have cramps. I usually even snowboard when I'm on my cycle. That's how much like using these oils, and if you are using nature, it'll help you move forward. And it's a good thing to remember the mood thing too. So on that note, just find us. We have all of the info. Stay connected. We love you. Stay healthy. Be happy. Goodbye.